Okay, there go the notifications. That's great. Hey, Cyber's there. Cyber, you there? Maybe not. Hello, everybody. Good morning, afternoon, evening, or whatever it is you're experiencing at this moment in time of whatever region you're in. Hello, everybody. So I hope everybody's doing good, and I hope you're having a great day. I know the notifications did go out, so if you are going to be joining us this morning, fantastic. Love to see you, and we're going to be
Patrick
talking.
John Welder.
Hey, Patrick.
Sunday Fun Day Nay.
Yes, we're
Good
going to
morning.
be talking a little bit about the climate, which is what the title is about. You know, all the predictions that I made on this show are coming true. Everything that I told you is coming true. And, you know, we're just waiting for some more more people to get on board. We're waiting for more people to catch on and realize what's up, you know. The information is out there now, though, and the most important thing is it's actually hot out, and people can feel that, and people go outside and they realize it's hotter than it's ever been, and that's when it triggers something in their brain, and suddenly they are able to
Patrick John Welder.
get on board.
I don't call you Nostradamus for nothing.
This was an easy one because I watched Thunderfoot, you know. It was so easy. He gives you the science and the information, and then you can decide for yourself. But I just never had much of a doubt of what we were facing, you know. There's always that obvious...
Mr. Blue 313 Setstfin. Morning, folks.
Hey, Bad Blue Jaws, what's up? Good morning. So, what's next is the question, right? What's next? What do we do? How do we proceed? You need to start taking care of yourselves, man. You need to start realizing what you got to do to survive. You don't have kids,
Patrick
man.
John Welder.
Do not have children.
Scientists say that Texas is a literal boiling.
You know,
I'm sure Florida is the same.
That's the first thing you can do. Make a decision right now. You're not going to have any more kids. Okay, you're not going to have kids boiling to death in the street.
Nick Brown. Good morning.
That's a start. What else are you going to do? You're going to seek shelter? You're going to, hey, Nick, Patrick, John, Welder, everybody. You're going to protect yourselves. You're going to find ways to keep cooler. You're going to move to a cooler region. You're going to get a job where you're not working outside digging ditches in the middle of the day. You know? Think about all the emergency workers. You know, it's bad enough that there's going to be an elevated call for them today and the next few days. But when they have to respond in this crazy heat. Now imagine being an emergency worker and wearing all those clothes and the boots and the whatever else they've got on, the equipment, you know, and then you got to go out and deal with people in this heat, right? Think about their jobs. How long is that going to last? Do you want that job? I mean, what's going to happen when the police don't show up anymore, the fire department doesn't show up anymore, you know, with something to cool you down with? What's going to happen when your electricity shuts off? What's going to happen when you just have a little power outage in this kind of heat? Are you ready for that? You know what do you have a plan? You think about it all? You know, the news doesn't ever talk about that. You know what the news does? The news talks about Band-Aids after the fact. That's what the news is all about. Oh, we had this happen so we can report on it. Drama. But nothing preventative. Nothing reasonable that people can actually sink their teeth into and take hold of actually some action that they could perform where it would actually help them. No, they want us to be helpless. They want the police and the fire and all these to come to our rescue. They want us to be in this situation. That's how they report it. They tell you after the fact. They don't tell you what to do. They don't give you any tips. You know, how to survive.
Nick Brown. Big facts.
They're not looking out for you and they don't care. 18 people died in the heat in the United States
Holly Horn.
so far.
Hey, nay.
18 deaths from a heat exposure. Yeah, it's a small number. That number is going to grow exponentially. And you think it's bad this year. What do you think it's going to be like next year or the year after that or in 5 years? Still thinking about having an infant? Going to leave your infant sitting in a car for 3 seconds? You know, you can't do that anymore. You know, you can't leave your pet outside. I can't even take my dog for a walk or put him in my Jeep and take him for a spin around the neighborhood anymore. It's gotten so bad. It's bad. It's hot. I mean, if you're living in a region where it's not like that, good for you. You know, stay there. But understand, this is hitting the rest of the country really hard.
Patrick John Welder.
And it's...
August is supposed to be record-breaking for Texas. It's really bad.
It's not to be ignored, is my point here. We've been ignoring this and ignoring it and ignoring it. You know, people like Donald Trump, oh, it warms and it cools. Yeah, I support Trump. I want him to be my president. I want him to be my leader. That's a huge mistake. You want to take somebody who's in complete denial about the climate and make him your leader? Based on that alone, that's a non-starter. Based on that alone, you can't vote for Donald Trump. Based on that alone, if you do, you're signing your own death warrants. You know, he's going to make it worse. He's going to literally make it hotter. Joe Biden's making it hotter too. Yeah, oil. Let's keep drilling for oil. Let's keep pumping the CO2 up into the sky. That's just accelerating our problem. I mean, if accelerating the problem and getting there faster is what our intention is here, great, man. If everybody wants to die quicker, great. That's what we're doing. So I would tell you to vote accordingly, but voting is not the option here. Voting is not the solution. It's not going to do anything for you, and nobody's going to come to you and help you. Nobody's going to blow the heat furnace out that's burning on this planet for you because you went and you voted for somebody. You know, when they say vote blue, that's not voting for an ice cube. You know, you're voting for more morons that are going to take this climate and run it into the ground. And you think producing electric cars is the answer? Let me tell you something. We're pumping out just as much CO2 producing those cars as we are with drilling for oil and going the other way. Nothing's going to help. No matter what we do, we're burning diesel fuel, we're burning petrol, we're putting CO2 up there, no matter what we do.
The hot water is killing the coral reefs in South Florida. Imagine the hurricanes that can form from that water.
I don't know, we just had our first hurricane. It changed back into a tropical storm. I'm surprised that we haven't had a ton of hurricanes already. I'm surprised. I can't believe the season seems pretty normal. That's not going to raise too many eyebrows, and that's sad. Because if there's one thing this needs right now, it's more people's eyes on this. Here's the other thing. The less people that are on this planet, the better it is for the people who survive. If all of the idiots that are in denial of climate change die because they didn't get ready for it, that's actually better for the intelligent humans that survive. So maybe our solution is to not be so concerned about all these idiots out there that are going to die sweltering in the heat, that are going to be panting for their last breath of air while they have no recourse. Maybe
I thought you guys would have been hit by several if it wasn't for wind shear.
Right?
Some weather guy I watch.
Right? Maybe our answer is to let this go. And, you know, it was like the COVID thing was like an IQ test for dumb people. Remember that? And then a whole bunch of dumb people ended up dying. That helped the human race. The kids that are going to be born now will have higher IQs. They will be smarter because a lot of idiots, COVID idiots, if you will, are dead now. They can't reproduce anymore. That's a good thing. Same thing with climate deniers. The more of them that die, right, the less idiots there will be to breed on this planet, crossbreed with the intelligent people. We get smarter people. This could be a purification of the human race, if you will, to make us smarter. You know, maybe some smart person will figure out how to solve the climate problem. I don't think so. But by getting rid of the dumb people, we might be better off. All the Trump supporters, dead. All the DeSantis supporters, dead. How's that sound? Like utopia. It sounds like heaven, doesn't it? Sounds beautiful, doesn't it? So we'll see. I have a feeling that the people who are also in denial of the climate issue, they'll be taking steps anyway, because they say that they're in denial of it because they're supporting Donald Trump, but in their hearts they know it's getting hotter outside because they had to go get their paper this morning too. And as soon as they stepped outside, they knew that Donald Trump has been lying to them. They don't care because they love Donald Trump that much. But they will care enough to protect themselves. So maybe we won't have this big die-off of idiots like I was hoping for. It would be nice, though. Oh, it would be nice. I'm glad we lost a bunch of COVID idiots. You know, mask deniers, social distance deniers, science deniers. A lot of them are dead. Millions of them. Good. Good. That's good for us. For the smart science-believing people. That's good. It looks like I lost a couple Trump supporters in my audience just now. Oh, it's too bad. Go melt. You know, go melt in the fucking heat. With Donald Trump.
Hoot and hell. We're headed to the movie Demolition Man, I tell you.
Yeah. Mad Max, bro. I wonder how long before that's the reality. I don't know if any of us will be here, but we might be. We could very well be here. Can you imagine a solar flare just destroys all the electricity on the planet? Then what? Then what do we do? I mean, a meteorite? A volcano eruption? One good volcano eruption, we're gone. With the whole planet. It'll only take one. Okay, guys, no law regarding cannabis. Hoot and Howl, Nick Brown, Patrick John Welder, everybody else in all the chats. Thanks for tuning in this morning, you guys. I hope you're having a good time. We'll try to lighten it up a little bit. We'll see where we go with this. Cheers. You guys remember Matt Dillacunty? Destiny and him had a debate. Mike Tyson wants to fight Jake Paul. You guys hear about this? Fucking crazy. Kyle Rittenhouse and David Pakman did a debate. Kyle Rittenhouse. About Kyle Rittenhouse. Destiny and David Pakman had a debate.
A whole lot of left-leaning people in this country who are going to feel like, wow. Two ways that you can upscale an image, okay? There are two ways, and if
Dropbox. Dropbox provides an exact forensic copy of what they.
Oh, true. Actually true. The boomers are impressing me. Actually true.
Filed.
Kenny?
Wow.
Okay. Whoa, wait, that's actually not a good word. Pac-Man, what's up?
How are you?
I'm doing great. How are you doing?
Wow.
Oh man, you know, are we not friends anymore?
That's to be determined. We'll know by the end of this conversation, I guess.
Yeah, well, the conversation may be shorter than you might think.
Uh-oh, okay.
Yeah, no, so here's the thing. Mike, I'm gonna cut right to the chase. It's just like, I'm worried that you are kind of falling into a kind of depressive black and white thinking where any dissent will not be tolerated. You are looking to have problems with people on the left as part of this whole, like, the left is going, I can't stand the left, and all this different stuff, when it's like, it's not even clear to me we have big disagreements necessarily about this case, but it seems like either for lulls or because of something that you've got going on, which I would want to explore, that I'm worried about you.
I'm
I
worried
don't
about
talk
you.
About any of the specific disagreements that I have, if you think that I am.
Hey, Pakman. Don't worry about Destiny. He's doing fine on his own. He doesn't need you to fucking worry about him, you fucking putz. Hey, you know what?
Just hating the left, but I think that all of my disagreements so far with the way that people have talked about this case,
Yeah.
I think have been pretty on point. I think they've been very substantive, but I mean, if you
Substantiative. Now that's it. We should explore that. What does that mean?
like if you substantive, I think I'm pronouncing it right, means that you have a disagreement, but it has something with substance. There's
I
like
see.
a basis, an important fact there. It's not just like oh, I'm mad because I don't like this person or whatever, right?
I gotcha.
David Pakman.
Let me ask you this:
David Pakman just now tried to call Destiny out on a word that Destiny knew, and Pakman didn't. And Pakman didn't even think it was a word. And he thought he was going to call Destiny out and make him look like an idiot. And what ended up happening? Destiny knew the definition of the word and made Pakman look like an idiot. Yeah, shut the fuck up, Pakman. You're no good at this. You are barking up the wrong tree, and you are picking on someone way bigger than you mentally. You are getting into something with somebody who is way smarter than you are.
tweet last night,
And this is from somebody who knows a lot more about Pakman than I do about Destiny. I've been watching him for years, and I'm telling you, this guy is way smarter than that guy. So,
on copium.
do you guys see the grin on Destiny's face now? Because he's like, you fool.
And with the F-bomb.
And I'll give him credit for keeping it cool. Destiny was really
I'm
cool about
actually,
it.
Like really triggered by the amount of misinformation that a lot of people are spreading relating to.
He knew somebody like me
case.
was totally going to catch
Okay,
that.
Your tweet had said that the Rittenhouse defense seems rattled by the fact that jury deliberation is into its 15th hour and have now demanded a mistrial over an exhibit that is already in evidence.
Yeah.
This tweet is so unbelievably not even remotely resembling reality.
Well, hold on a second.
Yeah.
We don't know if the defense is rattled, right? We don't know one way or the other. I'm giving an opinion. It's not a question of whether it's based in reality. It's my opinion is that based on the way that the do you remember? I don't know. Have you watched the entire trial, or have you watched clips of the trial?
I've not the entire thing, but I've watched many hours of it.
Okay.
I'm sure there's been parts that I've missed, but
Did you see when there was a lot of discussion about the jury instructions?
I don't know if I've seen that part. No.
Okay, if you haven't seen that, you would be unable to adjudicate my tweet. My tweet.
So here, well, I can tell you what's wrong about your tweet without having seen it, and you can tell me if I'm missing something. Okay.
Okay.
Sure. So you're saying that because the defense is rattled by the fact that jury deliberation is in its 15th hour, that they've now demanded a mistrial. So the mistrial request, they had already requested a mistrial with prejudice before jury deliberation even.
You're absolutely correct. Now, can I add something to that to understand it even further?
Yeah.
The defense asked for a mistrial with prejudice a while ago.
Yeah.
For two reasons. One, that they felt Binger's question to Rittenhouse about not having given his account was a violation of his Fifth Amendment right, number one. And number two, they requested the initial mistrial with prejudice over what they said was Binger asking about something that the judge had already said not to ask about. So, that's a request for mistrial with prejudice for those two reasons. Yesterday, the defense asked for a mistrial knowing it would be without prejudice, because it's now a different thing, because they didn't want the jury to see video, what's described as question 5, which is the drone video, by introducing heretofore unmentioned allegations about they got a different version and sort of implying that Jim Krause deliberately sent a lower resolution version, which can be
Nick
adjudicated, right? We can I'm
Pac-Man's
not even
face
arguing
cracks
as to the
me up.
truth or falsity of that. These are two different mistrial requests for different
No longer
reasons,
gonna cannabis,
one with
everybody cheers.
prejudice and one without. So it doesn't stick to say they asked for it before. Yes, they asked for a different mistrial for a different reason before.
Do you understand that? So, in this
Who's in hell?
hyper ultra nuanced
Cheers.
form of events, I can kind of believe you, except, well, now the last part of your tweet is not really accurate either.
But hold on, now you're moving on to something else. Hold on.
I'm still in your original tweet. So, because even if I buy everything you said there, the last part of your tweet was they want a mistrial over an exhibit that is already in evidence. They're not. It's not about them asking for a mistrial over an exhibit that's already in evidence. They're asking for a mistrial over an exhibit that they received a lower quality version of. That's significantly different than what you're implying in this tweet.
So let's see. Let's take it piece by piece. First of all,
Okay.
I disagree with that characterization, but I'm wondering if
Okay, mine is just correct, but okay.
I wonder if you've noticed that you're moving on. You've not acknowledged that the first thing you said was just flat wrong. Can you just directly acknowledge that statement you made? Hold on. Let me ask the question. Can you acknowledge that you said they already asked for a mistrial with prejudice? I told you that was a different request for different reasons. Can you say, you know what, David, you're right. That part I was wrong on.
I'm not wrong on that. There have been 2 different requests for a mistrial. My problem isn't whether or not there has been 1 or 2. My problem is that if I take your tweet as a totality, your tweet is basically saying like, wow, they're asking for a mistrial just because the jury's deliberating for 15 hours. And they're doing it over a piece of evidence that has already been submitted.
Let me see if I can.
Destiny makes a really good point.
Let me see if I can ask it a different way. That tweet, do you concede that my tweet is about a particular mistrial, the one that they asked for yesterday, and not the one that they asked for 10 days ago? Can you acknowledge that there are 2 mistrials, and I'm only referring to one?
Yeah, I can acknowledge that. But
can
the
acknowledge
problem is that the second part of your tweet then
Yes.
is still not correct. They're not asking for a mistrial over an exhibit that's already in evidence. That's not really what's being asked. It's about the fact that they were given a video that was of lower quality than what was actually submitted into
Wow.
the court.
Okay, I'm going to pause for 1 second. I'm just going to say this. I really feel like this is a very unimportant thing to argue. That's it. I don't know why they're arguing this point. There's so much more depth to this case, but this goes on for another hour or so.
Fine.
I'm sure they move past it.
I will stipulate to that. I concede that my tweet is my opinion. Saying that my opinion is wrong is different than copium with an F-bomb when I've said all along I believe it will be not guilty.
That has nothing to do with guilty or not. Your tweet is just wrong. It's incredibly misleading.
It has
nothing
everything to do with guilty or not guilty.
No,
it doesn't.
Pacman.
You're trying to-
Pacman has a way of getting a lot of things wrong. He mischaracterizes things. He does it a lot. He ignores. He won't cover certain things. You know, he ignores. You know, he's got blinders on that are like this. That's Pacman's blinders. You know, what he talks about, he's fairly accurate about, fairly. But if you're not going to cover the reality of everything, then you're really doing your audience a disservice.
See,
It
so
sound like they're asking for a mistrial because they're nervous about jury deliberation, and they're doing it for not a good reason. An exhibit that's already in evidence. Why not add an exhibit where they were provided a lower quality version of this before going to trial?
it
Like,
is
that's
not
substantially
even
different.
it is not even clear that that's what happened. I'm not taking a position on that because it was a shit show in court when Jim Krause is saying one thing, Miss Wisco is talking about Gmail, Richards is talking about the dates. They don't agree on exactly.
It's
I'm not
You know,
taking a
okay, so
position.
Pacman thinks that the defense is rattled, and Destiny is like, you know, you're doing copium here, and he was. And in hindsight, now that we know how that trial ended up, and even with Pacman anticipating the not guilty verdict, we see that Destiny's correct
one way
in
or
all
the
of
other
this.
on that.
Wait,
My
okay,
point
you're
is,
you're wrong in what you said. It's incredibly clear what's happened. They received a lower quality version of that file. I don't know if you watched what happened after the break. I know you did, but it is clear what's happened. The defense, this particular defense, got a lower quality version of the video than what the prosecution was using. That part is clear. There's no mystery there.
I am not denying that they ended up seeing a lower quality version. What I am calling into question is, given that they knew that days ago, that they had the idea from the jury instruction debate, particularly Richards was asking questions that made them believe, you know, it's conceivable that the jury is going to go right back there. They're going to go around the room and they're going to say it's not guilty on everything for self-defense, and that's going to be it. That has not happened. Hold on a second. But I can't even get my.
I don't. Yeah, sure. Okay. You're getting points out, but they have nothing to do with what we're talking about. I don't know what that has to do with what we're talking about.
It does have to do with what we're talking about, because the initial, see, we've got like it's like a fractal branching. Are you familiar with fractals?
Oh my God.
Yeah, but I don't think.
Are
that
you
this
familiar
is,
with
like,
losing
in
a
terms of what you're
debate?
talking about for that piece of evidence.
Are you familiar
this
with
was a motion
surrendering
that they filed
to
on Friday.
a point
This was
you
before jury
lost?
Deliberation even began. I don't know why we're talking now about like when the jury ruled to the we're guilty.
I got a lot of questions for Pacman right now.
Man, I don't even. So,
Pacman, do you know what losing means,
now
bro?
we're like 5 layers removed, where we have to sort of go back. The reason I initially, by the way, I'm echoing now. I don't know what's going on
Pacman,
with
oh yeah, you're echoing. Oh, there's a problem with my audio.
I'm
Oh,
echoing back. I'm hearing myself. Okay.
okay, I've got a problem.
Okay.
Houston, we have a problem.
Now let me see if I can get it. I just don't even know
Pac-
what this
Pacman's
is.
all-
Now we have to
you-
go back
you-
5 levels.
Hold on.
You're-
Hold on. Wait. Hold on. I can't let you do this, okay? Because now I have to move to debate mode, okay?
I'm
I
not
can't-
allowed to do anything. I'm not allowed to speak.
You've been speaking, okay? But I can't let you keep trying to obfuscate your factually incorrect tweet by saying, "Oh, we're 5 levels deep. Oh, we're talking about irrelevant shit." Blah blah blah. No.
Oh my God,
Very
yes!
clearly,
Thank
very
you, Destiny!
Your tweet was heavily implying that the only reason, or a big reason, why the Rittenhouse defense is asking for a mistrial is because they're rattled by the fact that the jury is deliberating in its 15th hour. And they want a mistrial over an exhibit that's already in evidence. One, this particular mistrial without prejudice was submitted before the jury deliberation began. They realized this on Friday, number one. And number two, it's not about an exhibit that's already in evidence. It's about them receiving a lower quality thing. Now, you tried to hand wave that and go, well, we don't know what happened. No, we do know what happened. They talked about it. He said that in the process of them emailing it over, there must have been this thing got converted into a lower quality file and sent blah, blah, blah.
In Pacman's mind right now, all he's thinking is that Destiny has become this huge right winger because he disagrees with him
Well,
on
we
this.
know what happened, right? That's what happened. So none of this is confusing. Your tweet is just incredibly misleading.
Hey, you know what? You're right.
Look at Pacman. Look at him. He thinks he's so slick.
Okay.
Thank you.
You convinced me. You're right.
Say Destiny.
Okay, well, is there anything else you want to chat about, buddy?
So we both agreed not guilty is probable.
Destiny's
I
great.
have no idea. It's a jury trial. Anything can happen. I have no
God,
idea.
there's, like,
There could be one holdout
absolutely-
right now. It could be a.
There is so no attitude coming out of Destiny right now, and he's like looking at a child and he's trying to reason with a child. And Pac-Man is a child. Is acting like a little baby. And there's literally people in the chat right now that are saying the exact opposite of what I just said. Go figure that out. What do y'all think?
6-on-6 deadlock. They might be disagreeing over some of the lesser charges. Maybe they've. I have no idea. Anything can happen as a jury trial.
Yeah. All right. Well, I'm really glad we cleared it all up. I didn't realize how wrong I was until you came on today.
It's.
Pac-Man's being such a dick.
Do you think that the judge is wacky? Do you think he's displayed a clear bias in this case?
I mean, I think that the judge is kind of a doofus.
Kind of.
And I think that the judge is not like out to get the prosecution. He's not out to get Kyle Rittenhouse off. But I do think that there are
Some fucking...
instances where he seems. I mean, listen.
Listen, this is a completely biased judge, okay? I don't know why the fuck Pac-Man's not jumping on this one. It's like him and I watched two completely different trials. But that judge wanted to put Rittenhouse up on a pedestal. I don't care what anybody else fucking says. I have all kinds of evidence to back up that statement. So the fact that this is like Pac-Man is somehow not catching on to this, I don't know where Destiny is with that. It'll be interesting to see what Destiny says about the judge.
In terms of the optics, he interrupts and doesn't allow the prosecution to like even finish what they're arguing regularly. Whereas
wait, hold on. Why do you think that is?
I'm guessing you think it is because the prosecution is doing things wrong, right?
Okay, well, my understanding is that if the judge feels like the prosecution is going down a line of questioning that he doesn't want them to go down.
I'm not talking about the lines of questioning. I'm saying even when the jury isn't in the room and they're arguing a motion, he doesn't even allow the prosecution frequently to even finish their perspective on what it is. And I've seen him interrupt the defense once in 2 weeks.
I totally disagree with that. There have been motions where the prosecution.
This is awesome.
Bonsai House. Warning.
This is awesome. Because I have to agree with Pac-Man right here. And I have to tell Destiny, yo, Destiny, Pac-Man's right about this. Wow.
Prosecution has won on it. They've successfully argued their point, and the judge has allowed things to stand. Like
You're now arguing a different point than the one I'm talking about.
Yes, he is.
Okay, the implication of your point is that the prosecution is getting cut off more than the defense, or that the defense.
That's
is
not the
winning
point.
more
No. The point is the judge is biased. That's the point. Pac-Man is providing examples of bias that he's witnessed. What you're trying to do is supply examples of the judge being fair. Okay? Let's see who can do this correctly.
Those are two different things. I agree with you that there were some motions that the defense's position was just wacky on. Obviously, the judge is not going to give every motion to the defense. So there's no doubt that you're right. There are motions where the judge has sided for the prosecution. They were obvious motions. If you looked at the legal analyses, there's no controversy there. The point I was in the middle of making when you went to a different point was on the optics and the way that the judge is relating to the two sides. He's interrupting and admonishing the prosecution regularly, whereas I saw him do it once with the defense. Now, that's a different point from whether you want to argue any particular motion, which I'm glad to do, if we even care to. I mean, at this point, it seems like water under the
I don't
bridge.
understand. I guess so. The first part is I don't know why we're talking optics. We're in court. This isn't about optics or what looks best on like a Twitter.
You brought up my opinion of whether the judge is wacky or whatever. That's about optics. It's not
That's
just
my
about
problem.
decisions.
So my problem isn't you saying the judge is wacky. My problem is you saying things like the judge is turning the trial into a farce.
I
Well,
think that if you can...
dude, when the judge did turn that trial into a fucking circus, okay? When his phone went off, it played Donald Trump's inaugurate his event theme song in the middle of the fucking courtroom. That's a fucking circus. All right? There's no denying that. I've got other examples of that, but I watched it.
Listen, if you watch the trial over the killing of Ahmaud Arbery, you have an extraordinarily measured judge. He's not putting on a show. He's not telling stories for the camera. He doesn't seem to be relishing being on camera every day.
Exactly.
But rather wants to
Listen,
be-
David Pakman is making completely solid, argumentative points here that I agree with everything he's saying right now. And Destiny has got a bias right now, and he's got his bias face on. You can see it.
as minimal as possible. He is being clear when the defense
like-
attorney starts talking about
It's like he's got like a face mask, like he's got like the shield over his face. Destiny's got, it's like you can see his face solidify. And he's just deflecting everything that Pakman is saying to him right now. But Pakman's making nothing but sense.
Colonel Sanders and whatever. He says, I
And I don't like this at all. I don't like it.
didn't even ask you to do this. In comparison,
I'm
you
very
have
uncomfortable.
The judge in the Rittenhouse case who's singing, telling stories, referring to a juror, a black that he had, regularly ranting to the prosecution and defense lawyers, but he's talking about the media. He's really like on TV. He's just doing a TV. It's
Okay,
wacky in
there's
that sense.
Yeah. Okay. So, firstly, if we want, for the first point, if we want to talk about him admonishing the prosecution more than the defense, we need to show that this is actually unwarranted, which I don't think you'd ever be able to do. We can go back to any of the times he has, and it seems like every time he has, most people that are watching agree that, like, yeah, or most people that are watching with a clear mind agree, yeah, the prosecution was out of line here or here.
Okay, right.
as you said
They
before-
were from time to time out
Mr.
of
Blue
line.
314 Setstfin. Love the way Destiny handles this conversation.
I know, V2. He's awesome. Dude, they were completely out of line. He makes a really good point there. And the judge did need to rein them in. But that's all he should have done. Instead, he was hyperbolic, and he turned it into a fucking circus by yelling and scolding them like they were children. I remember. Okay? Let's see what the response is here.
Or there have been times where the defense has lost on certain motions and the prosecution has won on. So it doesn't seem like it's like an evidence of clear bias or he's interrupting the prosecution more. He just does it when he feels like they're out of line, or especially when he needs to cut the prosecution off.
Yo, Destiny. Agree to disagree, bro. That's all I can say, man. Agree to disagree on this.
Off before the jury is able to say something. Number one. Number two, when you say putting on a show or stories for the camera, I mean, like, judges do this sometimes. I don't know if we think that every judge is like Law and Order or like I don't know, some crazy like hardcore trial.
So you're agreeing he's doing it. You're agreeing he's doing it, but you're saying it's fine.
Yes, the problem
Okay,
is
that's your opinion.
No. Oh my God, no. Holy shit, you're so dishonest, okay? The problem is you're not presenting this as he's doing it. You're presenting it as he's doing it, and you're saying it's way
Jesse
out of
just
line,
called
or that it's
Pakman a
wacky,
liar
or
right
that
to
he's
his
putting on a story
face.
for the camera. There are plenty of judges.
You just agreed he's doing it.
We're not talking about whether he's doing it. We're talking about whether your characterization of him doing it as being wacky or out of line is fair.
But hold on a second.
I agree with that
Well, I just
characterization.
responded to all the things you said. I wrote them down so that I could get them all out. Okay, so there are lots
Nice,
of judges that
dude!
will
Oh
tell
my
stories
God,
or jokes
Destiny!
or whatever. in the chat. There are judges that will dress you down.
I
If
wrote them
anybody's
all
been this
down,
way before,
man.
You will get made fun of or forced to postpone your trial date if you show up or an initial hearing. If you're not dressed appropriately, a judge will throw you out of a courtroom sometimes. Like, different judges do things in a ton of different ways. Not every judge is going to be this hard line, like, we're here, here's the process, I'm not going to say anything. Like, this absolutely happens from courthouse to courthouse. To say that a judge is telling stories, therefore it's like wacky or it's turned into a farce or whatever, is a totally unfair characterization.
No, I'm sorry. I think all of us have witnessed professional judges that don't play into a camera. I think we've all seen that. There's plenty of serious professional judges that are out there to do their job and to do it right, do it correctly, and do the best they can do, and not play into any of the media or the sensationalism that we saw this guy playing into. Okay, definitely not bringing in a cell phone, and definitely not being, openly supportive of your, Donald Trump, which is, Donald Trump's a fucking racist. So the judge supports a president who's a fucking racist. He's proud to be an American.
The idea that he's relishing for the camera.
Come
you don't
on,
know
Destiny.
People, you don't know how this guy has run trials in the past. You don't know if he's relishing for the camera. That's an unfair
Come
characterization
on. Oh,
as well.
bullshit,
to take his
Destiny.
Whole story about why he has defendants draw things from,
Destiny.
whatever that jar was or whatever.
Destiny.
And then your only takeaway from that is he called somebody a black. Like, okay,
That's terrible, bro. A judge shouldn't speak like that, man. When you're judging people, you should have a higher standard, Destiny. Wow, man. Let's see what Pac-Man's response is to that.
it's also like, Jesus, we're reaching.
I
And then
even
the
said, I mean, but Steven, you know, here's the problem I'm having with this, Kenny. Man, it's like, how do I even? So, you know, there's projection here. There's, you know, you're accusing me of I'll explain.
Yeah, explain the projection.
You're accusing me of
I didn't get that.
dishonestly and narrowly framing things that you're saying. But even in what you just said, I did an entire clip saying the judge's explanation about why he had Rittenhouse draw the numbers is eminently reasonable. I agree with it. I think it's perfectly reasonable. And his bizarre, it was a black thing, made me laugh, and it's really wacky. And you dishonestly just acted as if I said the entire thing was illegitimate. That never happened. It never happened.
Bonsai house.
You characterize it as him
I hit a
making
squirrel
the
with a
trial
stick of frozen
farce.
butter from
I mean,
20
like,
yards.
What is the
Billy.
impression there?
My impression of the judge is that the guy is farcical. He's a goof. He's wacky. That's my opinion. You can disagree, but where I'm having a problem is
He's biased.
you seem unable to just be like, oh, someone has a different
Cheers,
opinion.
everybody. No
and
origami
it's
cannons.
essentially
Cheers,
meaningless
Billy,
to either of our
Bab Bab
lives,
Blue Jaws,
but I feel the
everybody
need
else
to
in
go
all the chats.
completely
Thank you guys for
bonkers
tuning
and,
in.
like, attack people and use the term copium. Like, I'm just wondering why you have this tendency. It has nothing really to do with the trial. It's like, I think the guy's wacky. It's just my opinion. What's the big deal?
This defense is unbelievable to me. So
It's not a defense. I'm trying to
it's
understand
a
where,
defense of-
like, is it
it's a defense,
content?
but you're
Is it just
basically saying,
content?
hell.
No, you're saying it's none of this is
Cheers.
content, okay? You're basically saying, like, LOL, this is all just a big meme. That's like what you're saying, right? But this isn't just a big meme. People look to online commentators to get their opinions about how the trial is going. My problem, my worry about, I don't know why you're saying, oh God, is some part of that unbelievable to you? That people watch people online to get their opinions about the ongoing of this trial? Do you disagree with that?
I don't disagree that people watch content to learn about things. I agree with that.
Wow. You know,
Okay, I don't know.
Now Pac-Man's in a bubble. He's acting like he doesn't understand what Destiny just said. And of course people get their opinions from podcasters. Of course they do. You know, they might not agree with every point they say, but they watch podcasters to get all the information. You know, I mean, and when they get that information, some people actually do listen to the podcast and say, whatever that podcaster says, yes, I agree with them. I trust them that much. Everything they say. You know, I was like that with some podcasters for a long time until I started noticing, oh shit, we disagree on that, so it can't be everything. You know, and you start paying attention, you find your differences, you know?
I don't know what prompted that response, right?
No, I'm just saying that part I agree with. Please proceed, Governor.
Okay, so the issue is that if it does come out that Rittenhouse walks on every charge, there's going to be a whole lot of left-leaning people in this country who are going to feel like, wow, of course it was a white nationalist, white supremacist
Right.
supporting judge who was making
gonna be a lot
racist
of people
jokes
that are
about
gonna listen
Asians
to
and blacks,
Pac-Man.
who turned the whole trial into a farce, who was constantly supporting Rittenhouse.
They'll
and
never
unfairly
watch
interrupting
the trial
prosecution.
themselves
These are the
and
takes
only
that
have
most people are getting
what
regarding the trial.
Pac-Man
When the reality
says
is,
to
the
go
trial
on.
has been pretty standard. The judge hasn't displayed any insane, out of character behavior. There hasn't been any like mess up of the process that's so wrong. But a lot of people are walking away with this opinion because of commentators like you that make statements like this.
That's
So
true.
let me ask you then.
That's true.
Yeah.
So
White supremacist judge, that rant, right? If we just quote that, I never said any of that stuff. So why are you mad at me about stuff I never said?
You haven't said the white supremacist, but you're playing into this overall narrative that the judge is wacky and farcical and is doing things that are unbecoming of a judge or inappropriate in a courtroom. Or
I
they're
think that's an
unfair, malign on one
incredible,
side.
incredible.
let me just say it's incredibly accurate to say what Pac-Man said about that judge. I agree.
Myopic and trivializing interpretation of 100 hours of coverage that I've done.
So you think that, I'm curious then, and I'm super curious, if you were to poll your audience and you were to ask them, do you think that this judge has been fair equally to both sides of this trial? Do you think the majority of your audience would be like, yeah, he's been pretty fair?
No.
I have no idea what my audience would say. My opinion is that on the decisions, the judge has been slightly favorable to the defense. That's not like a crazy extreme position. I think the judge's decisions have been slightly favorable to the defense. I mean, is that's considered nuts now?
That's not how it comes across, but like,
we're doing an entertainment show with opinions. It's like you're acting like we have to be, hey guys, I believe 53 to 47 the judge, and I'm not going to editorialize anything. If the judge does something funny, I'm going to laugh at it.
Is this all just a bit then? Is it all just entertainment?
It's not just entertainment, but this is sort of like when, what's that? Oh God, what is that guy's name? Carl Benjamin. What was that guy? What does that guy go by?
Sargon of Akkad.
Sargon of Akkad. This is like when Sargon of Akkad and I were arguing because he felt my titles were clickbait. And I explained to him, I'm picking titles that are not lies, but that will make people more interested to see what I'm saying. It's like pretending this isn't what we do. It seems very dishonest to me.
I guess I don't view, when I'm covering like news related stuff, I don't view it as just entertainment. But I guess if you do, that explains a difference in, I guess, like what we're looking for in terms of.
That's called a straw man. That's called a straw man because now you're ascribing to me something I never said.
Okay, I might be wacky. Maybe but it sounded to me like just earlier you said that what I'm engaged in is entertainment. Is that, did I misread you? Or you can restate that, I guess, if I misunderstood.
Is the mechanism through which we build an audience that there's a component where people go, I'm entertained by this, so I watch it in addition to being informed? Like, is that crazy? Are we arguing about like what is water at this point?
There is some level of entertainment, of course.
That's what I'm saying.
I think you have to balance that out with not like mischaracterizing or misleading people.
So the balance is, I'm not saying any of the things you ascribe to me about a white supremacist judge or any of it. But all else being equal, I'm trying to make an entertaining show.
But do you think that entertaining show can come at the cost of giving like a fair and balanced view of what's happening in the courtroom?
I think it absolutely can, and I don't think that that's what's been taking place with my coverage.
You think it can come at that cost?
I think that, of course, it can. We can find examples of anything, yeah.
I'm not talking about just finding examples of anything. My guess, and I could be wrong, and I'd be interested to do this poll sometime, although now it might be tainted because people hate me in your audience, but like, if you would have asked before this conversation, do you think the judge is being relatively fair and impartial to both sides for this trial? My guess is that 85% of your audience would say no, that he's disproportionately favoring the defense.
You're saying if I would have done it absent any of my commentary, or what do you mean? Or
no,
like yesterday?
I'm saying before our conversation.
Oh.
I think the vast majority of your audience would say, no, the judge is absolutely being unfair. And I think that is the mainstream opinion right now in a lot of like left-leaning media coverage, and then across Twitter, Twitch, and YouTube with people watching this. So
is it possible that it's the right opinion?
It is, but
yeah,
I haven't seen anything to substantiate that.
Destiny.
Yeah, he's been pretty fair for everything.
I can provide the one piece of evidence that I think demonstrates that judge was not fair to that case. That is this: he denied facts of the case from being stated in front of the jury. That seems pretty biased to me, man. And you know, Destiny could argue, well, that's a judge's prerogative to do that, to decide what the jury can hear and what he will. In this case, it was that the guy had broken the law to bring the gun there in the first place. And if he hadn't broken that first law, nobody would have been hurt. That's psychotic when you think about it. The judge decided to rule that out of evidence? Strike it from the jury? Would you guys think that's bias? What I just stated right there, do you guys think that's bias? Let me know. Let me know what y'all think.
So it seems like that
I
most
didn't
people
admit
went
that.
out-
See, I think the problem is like I don't
You
know.
literally said that
You're
we-
misstating every single thing I say. You're either trivializing it and minimizing it, or expanding it, rather than just dealing with what I'm actually saying.
Okay, I thought you said something along the lines of the judge for the most part has been fair. Maybe there've been a couple times where he's favored the defense, but it sounded like
What I've said is, on optics and the way that he runs the courtroom, I think the judge is wacky and doofusy and off color and all those different things. In addition, separate from that, in terms of the decisions he's made, I think his decisions have favored the defense, while he has made decisions that individually are sometimes for the prosecution, sometimes for the defense. It's just you seem to be, because I'm not speaking hyperbolically, you seem to be interpreting it as me saying there's nothing to talk about here. I think the judge has been favorable to the defense, but not 99-1.
sure. I'm curious then, I guess, since now we're going to take a hyper-nuanced point. Like, in what case do you think he's favored? Do you think he's favored the defense in a fair way or an unfair way?
I think that there are examples of him favoring the defense in an unfair way, and I can give you an example if you would allow it.
Sure, I'm curious. What do you
Okay.
think about that?
Okay, let's see what he says.
I'm predicting you're going to focus in on the prosecution sent the defense a blurry video. I'm going before that. Okay, so think back before that latest thing happened. I believe that the defense has been able to take advantage of the judge's technological incompetence by introducing arguments about pixels, algorithms, logarithms, etc. Put the prosecution in a position to basically have to try to explain to a guy that doesn't understand any of this why everything is okay. And the judge is simply, out of incompetence, erring on the side of accepting what the defense says, assuming the prosecution is doing tricky things with exhibits, when it's really just the defense using the judge's technological incompetence to their favor.
Okay, I don't know what your background is in terms of how involved you are with the video stuff that goes on for your broadcast, but the judge had an absolutely perfect understanding of the potential issue that could come up. That ruling was incredibly fair, and he didn't even necessarily rule against the prosecution. He just said that if you want to present an evidence in this manner, you need to have an expert witness on hand to do it.
That's the
Otherwise-
case only with one piece of video. But there were
No,
endless
there wasn't.
instances. Okay, go on.
No, it wasn't the issue with the video. It's that they wanted to take a video and manipulate it in the courtroom. If they wanted to have a zoomed video, they should have submitted that as evidence in the pretrial, not tried to manipulate the video in the courtroom for the jury to see. That's a different thing.
Weird.
Yeah, I just don't. I mean, listen, you're arguing that a guy who looked dazed and called pixels pickles had a perfect understanding of
Pickles.
the technology that's at play. It's like I feel like we're talking about what are we talking about?
Hold on. You're obfuscating with so many silly words, with so many wacky words. Whether he called it pixels or pickles or whatever isn't
It's
relevant. What
doofusy.
the judge said, it's not. What the judge said, it was shocking to me because he actually displayed an incredibly sophisticated understanding of the pinch and zoom. Because there are a lot of tech illiterate people, even younger people, even people in both of our audiences that do think, oh, pinch and zoom, that's just like a magnifying glass. It is absolutely not. There's all sorts of software that goes into enhancing images that might be involved in a zoom. But if you want to say that there's not, you just need an expert witness on hand to testify, or you should have submitted that evidence in pretrial rather than attempted to manipulate that video in front of a jury on the spot.
Okay.
Ordinarily, this wouldn't be a big deal, but when you're talking about the difference between walking or life in prison with no parole has to do with how 6 pixels are going to be interpreted on a zoom, I'm sorry, but that is totally fair to say, well, I don't know.
The
Maybe we should have
conversation,
an expert,
the conversation about the effect of technology on exhibits is 100% fair. The place where it completely fell apart and the judge's incompetence on the matter became clear was that sometimes they were talking simply about still images sent from iPhone to iPhone, and sometimes they were talking about enhanced videos. And the parameters and the conversations that apply to some of those and not to others, including interpolation, the so-called logarithms, by which they meant algorithms, bicubic, nearest neighbor, etc. The judge didn't know what way was up or down and thought some of the things being applied to some of those exhibits applied to others. He was completely confused. The defense was throwing objections and conversations about this one way or the other. And these were all completely different issues, different technological questions around different exhibits, and the judge had no idea that that was going on. They were confusing email, video, images, iPhone.
Maybe we watched different things, or maybe I missed a
That must
totally
be
different
it.
version of trial.
That must be
My
it.
understanding is that this was over one specific video that the prosecution wanted to pinch and zoom. This didn't have to do with emails and all these other. It was over one specific video that they wanted to pinch and zoom, and the defense objected. And then the judge said, this seems reasonable. If you want to pinch and zoom in a courtroom, you need an expert witness to testify what information is being added. I think that's a totally fair point, especially if whether or not you are guilty or you walk comes down to how 6 or 7 pixels are interpreted on a Zoom like iPhone. I think that's a totally fair point.
You have followed. So here, okay, let me back up for 1 second. I actually think we may be getting to the end of the usefulness of this, because when I hear you say you were shocked at the judge's incredible understanding of technology, I don't know, Stephen. I'm not even sure that there's a conversation to be had if you were impressed by this judge's technological comprehension. That's scary to
Do
me.
you think it's incorrect to
Look, I'm just going to pause right there. There's plenty of time left, so he doesn't end it right there.
say that a pinch to zoom could introduce new material into a photo?
It is not incorrect to say that in the absence of actual specific conversations. But the fact that you were impressed by the judge's technological competence is that's concerning to me.
Okay, I guess I don't know. I haven't heard the judge rule on something where it sounded like he was totally out of his element, where he didn't know what he was talking about.
Really?
If you feel like there was an earlier exhibit that was unfair, I mean, it's on the defense or the prosecution to object. If they hadn't, then they didn't. But the judge's
But
ruling.
now you're flopping back to a you're going. It's weird because it's like
Please
He
don't
does-
say I'm flopping. I'm not flopping.
Hey, Destiny, the judge doesn't even know how to mute his own cell phone.
You can
well,
say
you're
I'm flopping.
flipping. Maybe flopping.
Seems
is not
pretty
the right word.
technologically
Okay,
inept.
Talking very specific. So you were wrong about the pinch and zoom thing. The judge's ruling there was absolutely fair and showed an absolutely decent understanding.
I hate
of
to
the
defend
technology
Pac-Man,
involved.
but-
That is absolutely true. So if you thought the judge was floundering there, you are incorrect. Now, if you think there was another point that maybe I'm not aware of where you thought the judge was floundering, or if you think that mispronouncing pixels as pickles, I don't know if the judge did that or if the prosecutor did that, but if you think something like that shows that you're technologically incompetent, I'm sure between the two of us there are a million times where we've mispronounced resolution or interpolation or pixel or whatever.
Dude, the guy is screenshotting text messages, creating a 10-foot long narrow ribbon that he can't even read on his phone in order to preserve text messages. And you're saying that you're impressed by the guy's technological know-how. What you know, it's outrageous.
Okay, I don't know how to respond to that. So the fact that the judge had the wherewithal to understand that a pinch and zoom could into a picture, that's something that I wouldn't expect a 76-year-old man to understand. But he seemed to have a decent understanding of that, and he said that if the prosecution wanted to do that in the courtroom, they needed an expert witness. That is a totally fair ruling. If you don't believe me, talk to anybody that deals with photo or video, they'll agree. I don't know what else to say about that. If there was another time you thought he was being unfair or technologically illiterate, I don't know if screenshotting text messages is your bar for that, then you can go for it. You can go for it. But as
It's a pretty freaking low bar. I mean, my bar is higher. It's just, you know, it's sort of like printing out emails and putting them in a file folder.
As it pertains to the trial, I haven't heard him say anything that's completely unreasonable in regards
Printing
to
out
technology.
emails and putting them in a file folder.
Is there anything else you can think of besides? Is there like a specific? Because this one ain't it. This isn't it. Was there another point that I missed where he said something that was incredibly technologically foolish?
It's not a question of what he says. It's that the defense is taking advantage of the fact that he can't tell the difference between whether pinch and zoom is relevant related to a video or a picture. The defense. I mean, listen. If you just
you've already lost on this point. Why are you bringing this up? That was a totally fair objection by the defense that the judge sustained. Then the prosecution needs an expert witness to testify. That's totally fair. You have to have a different example than that.
the judge said he didn't actually understand. You're simultaneously saying the judge was very, very competent and perfectly understood it, and said bring in an expert witness. But in saying that the expert witness needs to come in, he said, I'm not understanding it. You're telling me one thing, you're telling me another thing. I don't know. The guy said, I don't know. He said, I don't
No,
understand it.
Hold on. What he meant and what he was saying was in response to the prosecution.
So now you know what he meant when he said, I didn't understand it. He meant, I do understand it.
No, because what the prosecution was saying was, this is simple. Everybody has pinch and zoom on their phone. Everybody does this. That was the prosecution's argument. They were arguing in favor of it. And the judge said that he didn't have the technical know-how to know one way or another if that was true, so they need to bring in an expert witness to testify. I think that shows a perfectly competent understanding of the complexities involved in these types of image processing environments.
You first said the guy showed an incredible understanding of the technology. Now you're saying the judge showed a great understanding of his limitation for understanding the technology. These are two different things. You're now going from he was smart enough to realize he doesn't know.
Do you really think that these are two different points, David? Wait.
Yes.
Hold on. Wait. Okay. Hold on. I'm curious. I'm just super curious. Do you think that earlier I was saying that the judge has an incredibly good and deep technical understanding of the intricacies?
Yes, you said you were impressed with it. You said you were impressed with his understanding.
All right. Okay, I understand. All right. Is there anything else you want to talk about?
Do you understand?
I don't think you're either not approaching the conversation in good faith or you're trying really, really hard to just win a debate and you're not listening to what I'm saying. But I mean, it could be either one. I'm not sure.
I'm trying to win I didn't even want to have a debate. I wasn't the one tweeting about copium. I'm no. Did you contact me or did? Hold on, Steven. Did you contact me asking to talk today, or did I contact you?
People told me in my stream.
No, but hold on, Steven. Hold on. People told me the same thing. Did you contact me or did I contact you?
I messaged you.
Okay.
After you responded to my tweet. Yeah. After I tweeted at you. Yeah.
Okay, so now you're saying the conversation you started is one where you don't like that I'm trying to win a debate? What?
No, when I say it's not that I don't mind an argument. It's
Okay.
that it doesn't seem like you're having a good faith characterization of what I'm saying.
I would say the same to you.
I think I've understood what you said pretty well. I'm restating your points back to you. I'm writing them down as you talk to me, but you keep jumping from one thing to the other or bringing up things that we previously rehashed in order to win the point. But
I don't care about, I don't think there's any winners here. I think there's all losers. I can assure you, I have no interest in winning any point or winning any bigger thing here. I really don't care. My concern is the combination of the ease with which you seem to be triggered by some of this stuff, combined with what I see as a desire to just denounce the left and fight with everybody, to me seems like you're not really in a great place and I'm worried about you. That's ultimately what it is.
So, I mean, we can keep running the memes down all you want, but my problem is
What
that the
memes?
vast majority of everything you're saying right now is a meme.
It's not a meme, actually. It's not a meme.
Triggered by misinformation. I do get triggered when people are dishonestly presenting narratives, and then you claim it's just for entertainment or it's just your opinion. And
I
do
never
get
said that.
People I missed you did earlier. People can go.
I
rewind.
never said it's. Hold on a second.
And I did-
But there's two. But see, you're misstating
you
it right
actually
there.
just said it. You just said that.
You said it was only for entertainment and it's only your opinion.
You said earlier. Yeah.
Hold
this
on a
is just my
second. Let me
opinion.
say what
That's
I. That's right. Let me say what I said. I said, sometimes you seem to get a little more mad than it seems sensible over something that at the end of the day is
This isn't an
someone's
argument.
opinion.
Wait, you're not even
The
addressing what I
second
said.
piece of it is I never said
You're
it's
doing the
only
internet version
entertainment.
of, you're just saying you're mad over and over again. This is reinforcing your point. You're are you mad? Are you mad? That's what you're doing.
Am I mad, you're saying?
No, you're asking me in more words. You're saying you seem mad. Are you mad? That's your response to half the things I'm saying to you.
Yeah, because it's not it's like I know a lot of people and I relate to a lot of people, and the degree to which you're just furious all the time is not normal. To me.
That's not accurate.
This isn't a response to anything I've said.
That
I'm
is
curious on the
so
internet a lot. It's what I've done for
look,
the past 10 years.
I gotta defend Destiny here for a second. Dude, he's not mad all the time. Dude. It's just wrong for Pac-Man to try to characterize him that way. Look, we need to pick this up later, guys. I hope you guys had fun, and I'll see you on the next show, whenever that is. You know how to find me. You know where I'll be. Thanks for watching. Enjoy your afternoon. In the meantime, you can follow me. I'm on Threads at Nays Garden Show. And, all over the internet at Nays Garden. All right. Thanks for watching, guys. Bye.